Excuse me, everyone. We will be starting in a minute, so if you could all take a seat, that would be great. And for those sitting down, if there are any extra seats in the row, please shuffle along to make room for everyone. Thank you.
Mic on. Hi, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land we're meeting on today, the Wurundjeri, Wurrung, and people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us tonight. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Melbourne Space Program Annual Showcase. My name is Marslan Abizada, and I'm the Chief People Officer here at MSP. My journey with MSP began in a very simple way. I was walking past the club's market day at university in my first year. And like many of our students, I was also drawn by curiosity. I remember seeing the animatronics on display, the robot, and thinking, this is very cool. For me, space has been a lifelong passion. From nights spent staring up at stars to being fascinated by black holes, dark matter, and the vast mysteries of the universe in high school, I've always been captivated by the unknown. And that curiosity eventually led me here to MSP. And when I first joined, I didn't really see myself as a leader, but someone else did. And that was our CEO at the time, Max. He said to bring my experiences in supporting people and teams into MSP. And almost 3 years later, I can say it's been one of the most rewarding journeys of my life. In that time, I've seen MSP grow, restructure, overcome challenges. And at the heart of it all, I've seen our student engineers build not just technical skills, but friendships, confidence, and a belief that they can step into the industry ready to make their mark. Beyond MSP, I work as a producer at the ABC, and I'm a student of this university. And I'm also someone deeply passionate about education and equity. But this program and this community, I should say, at MSP has been a really important part of my journey. There are 3 lessons that I would like to share that I've learned over the past 3 years that I've learned from the people here and the student engineers at MSP. They've been the passion, which is following what excites you, even if it seems impossible, it's always worth it. To trust, and that is that progress happens when people believe in one another and believe in the mission of the organization. And resilience, that roadblocks, whether technical or whether it's logistical or personal, can be overcome when we work together. I've made some incredible friends here. I've been challenged to think differently, to think bigger, and to always remember why curiosity matters. I truly believe that each one of us have the power to write our destiny and to take initiative, to follow our passions, and create the future that we want. And at MSP, I've seen that come alive through students taking initiative to join something bigger than themselves, to learn, the initiative to grow, and to contribute to something extraordinary. So tonight, as we celebrate the progress of our projects and the journeys of our teams, I really invite you to not just witness the achievements, but also see the passion and dedication behind our student projects. Thank you very much. I'll now invite our CEO for his address.
Hello, everyone. Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm Sam, and I'm the CEO of MSP, and I'm also a Masters of Engineering student here at the University of Melbourne. I've been part of MSP for nearly 3 years now, when I joined back in 2023 to start the humanoid team, which you can see over there. After this, I've become CEO for just over a year, and I'd like to say it's amazing to see just how far the Melbourne Space Program has come in just these last 3 years. And for those who don't know what the Melbourne Space Program is, we are a student-run non-for-profit that started in 2016 with one aim: to be the first student group to put a satellite into orbit from Australia in 50 years, which we achieved with Acrox 1 back in 2019, which we launched into orbit as a proof of concept to say that yes, students can put a satellite into space. After this, we've expanded just from a group of students trying to complete a cool project to a non-for-profit dedicated to building key skills and preparing students for life after they graduate, in both engineering and other fields. And if you're wondering how we do this, we have our 3 projects, still with that singular aim at the start for students to be working on cool projects. We have our flagship and major project, Acrox 2. This is a 1U CubeSat, which we are currently planning to put into space in the next few years. This is a complicated project that involves pretty much every type of engineering under the sun and multiple stakeholders, meaning there's no room for error. Because once you put the satellite up into orbit, you can't exactly take it down and change a few things around. Acrox is also looking to move ahead to work with more industry and researchers to lower the cost for these groups to create space heritage and test their technology. After this, we have our humanoid team. This team is what brings AI and robotics into the mix. And they are aiming to create a humanoid service robot with the aim of teaching students these skills to hopefully have a humanoid robot in every household in the future. Our third and certainly not smallest team is animatronics. This team is dedicated towards building toys for sick children in hospital, focusing on the more community outreach side of things while still developing key skills for students. But I will let these projects tell you more about themselves later, and I encourage you all to attend their stalls over here after our presentations to see the work they are doing. But before I move on to our next presentation, I would also like to thank all of our partners and sponsors. Without these organizations that we work with, we, to be truthful, would not be able to do the things that we do and would not to be able to provide the students the experiences and the education they are getting. So I'd like to say thank you. I would now like to hand over to Preetham, our CEO and founder of Akulatech and also MSP alumni.
Good evening, everyone, and it's great to be here again for the second year. Thank you, Sam, for extending the invite to join this event. It's such a honor to be here at Melbourne Space Program, especially because I'm an alumni of this program. I've joined this program when it was run by Andrew. I don't know where he is in the room, but shout out to Andrew. Andrew was the CEO when I was there, and I was working on Acrox 2 back then. And I think the team just finished Acrox 1 mission, and that was we were riding on the excitement of the team that built Acrox 1. But yeah, I think it's a pleasure to catch up with a great cohort of engineers, scientists, and innovators around the room who are going to shape the future of space industry and many other industries here in Australia. I've been told that today's theme is redefine the future, and this theme deeply resonates with me and my team at Akulatech, especially with our recent successful launch about a week and a half ago on 26th of August. Let me start today by sharing a little bit about my journey and where I've come from and what we are doing today. We started, obviously, my journey personally in Australia, particularly in space industry, started with joining Melbourne Space Program. That's when I got exposure into just understanding and just being amazed by the amount of efforts and hard work it takes to build a satellite, even if it's just a 1U satellite. And then I think the excitement also it brings when you're putting together another satellite mission, and the number of iterations we go through before we decide whether to put a space tether on it, or before to put a camera on it, or to put something else completely different. From there, I think that journey took me to a couple of internships within the country, and with few good organizations. And in 2022, then came the idea for me to start a company that builds satellites. And I was called all different synonyms of crazy back then when I told that I'm going to start a company as an international student who wouldn't even get a job in aerospace industry, by the way, in Australia. I'm going to start a company that builds satellites and serves APAC markets right here from Australia. And I was joined by equally crazy people who were part of my university projects or internships or just assignments that we did together. And for us back then, the goal or the idea was, to do something in space that is very much needed by the world today, and also is going to be very much needed by the world in the future. And the problem that we identified was getting data from space is not the challenge. Making that data actionable while it still can is the challenge that exists in the world as we speak. And if you think about it, for decades, satellites have been fantastic at capturing data from space. That may be optical data or RF data or any kinds of data. But the problem is raw data doesn't change the world. The actionable insights that we can extract from this raw data, while the insights still matter, is what is going to create the impact and help us change the world. And earlier on 26th of August, like I said, we launched our first satellite, and that was our first step towards realizing this vision. And what it took for us to get from 2022 being a team of 3 people back then to now a team of 20 people who built the first step towards this vision of turning actionable raw data into actionable intelligence from space was we never gave up. No matter, I can probably count as about 50 plus people that have straight up rejected us even before talking to us, and then another 50 people who talked to us and decided that we're just crazy. Despite of the rejections, despite of the limited resources, and despite of limited support that's available from an organizational point of view, and despite of the experience we lack to build companies, we still kept going. And I think this is not just about another satellite. This is a first step towards redefining space intelligence for us. Like I said, for years, Earth observation satellites have given us amazing data to look at and really rich data to actually use. But all of this has still one big limitation. It used to take hours, even days, and now also it takes even hours to get any space data processed, analyzed, and made useful. But with our recent satellite launch and with the next few satellites that we have planned, we are actually breaking this barrier. So the satellite that we launched is built to deliver near real-time information from space. So what it basically does is it's got a hyperspectral camera and an AI module on board. So as and when the camera clicks the images, the AI module processes these images and does the end-to-end geospatial analysis, which includes running AI models. And it runs quite a few AI models. As of today, it's running about 19 AI models, which look for different kinds of actionable intelligence, like presence of a bushfire or presence of heat, like a heat index, or maybe a potential zone where bushfires could start, presence of floods or occurrence of floods, looking for military infrastructure, looking for illegal vessels on waters, sovereign waters. So different kinds of intelligence, different kinds of AI models that are on board. And all of this happens within seconds and within minutes as soon as the data is captured. And the actionable intelligence from this data is delivered down to the ground. At the moment, we still use ground stations, but our next iterations of the satellites are going to have direct-to-device connectivity, where this intelligence is going to be delivered directly to a handheld radio or a mobile device or a military comms equipment. So that's where we are heading towards as a company. And now let me tell you why this redefine the future actually resonates strongly with me. Because for us, like I said, this is not just about launching satellites, but this is about changing and redefining the way humanity uses space assets or space capability. It is about breaking the limitations of space to just being exploration and transforming it into being an intelligence layer, that intelligence and a responsive layer above the Earth that aids in solving the problems on the Earth while it still matters and while we are still able to do it. The exciting part is this is not just about Akula Tech. This is about building an ecosystem that provides the platform for everyone in this room to actually go above and beyond and innovate on top of our infrastructure layer or on top of our satellite infrastructure layer to build solutions that actually solve problems that matter today. For the students and for the team members here at MSP, this is a great cohort that you're part of, and this is a great platform where you get an opportunity to work with real world problems, work with real world equipment. I'm sure you can get your hands on all kinds of real world equipment that's used in the companies to build satellites, to build robots, and to build software platforms. And I think the biggest opportunity and the biggest advantage you have is your cost of failure is almost zero. In a company, let's say if I give you a small example, we had actually an issue where we designed an amazing backplane for our entire avionics stack for the first satellite, but we realized that the amount of heat generated between the PCB boards in a space environment can actually fry the circuits. So although it was an amazing design which costed us about a good 100,000 in human resource and other resources, we only realized it after we built and assembled that the heat is really not going to work, and we had to go back to a conventional design, and then we iterated on top of it, and then again changed a few things around. So I think what I'm trying to get to is at MSP, the cost of failure is you learning a new outcome, and you don't have the pressure of having balance sheets met, and you don't have the pressure of answering to your CEO about why you're not able to complete the project in $500,000. I'm sure Sam doesn't ask those questions. But yeah, so that's, I think your cost of failure is a learning outcome. It's an experience, something that you can talk about, something that you can use in your future. And I think that's the best sort of environment for, at least for, as I think, for engineers to learn and to actually gain some skills that matter in the real world. And MSP provides that platform, and I'm sure we'll keep providing that platform. Just a few years ago, I was actually where you are now. Like I told me and the team and other people and Andrew, we were iterating on multiple versions of what a satellite could look like. And we had some of really interesting ideas, which I still want to pursue, by the way, at some point when we have enough money to do so. But yeah, so I think this platform has provided you with the freedom of thought. My team can't come to me and say, we're going to put a tether in space, because how do we monetize it? But for MSP, you have that freedom where you can actually come up with some of the really interesting ideas, and really you have freedom of thought, which I appreciate a lot as being an engineer, which I don't have nowadays a lot when I'm being the business side of things. But I think a platform like that available to engineers that are coming out of amazing universities like RMIT and Monash is almost unparalleled. And I think this is something that made the US economy and the US engineering community very strong, where all of the universities that I have seen and I've met so far have a really strong platform like this, where you have freedom of thought, freedom of innovation. Your cost of failure is just a learning experience. And you also have a very strong alumni and advisory teams that tell you what works and what doesn't work. And being able to replicate that here in Australia is not just good for us, but good for the country, good for the economy. And I think more of companies like mine will come out of this activity, and I'm sure we're ready to compete with all of them. But I think another important aspect and another important point that I wanted to bring up today was just resonating again with today's theme. My advice, or in fact my challenge to every one of you, which I actually went through myself when I was a part of Melbourne Space Program, was think bigger than today, think beyond today. Look at the problems from angles that others ignore, and look at build solutions that no one else really dares to build. I think these are the three things that helped me choose the pathway that I'm currently on. When I looked at the space industry, I was thinking beyond getting a job that day. I was thinking what I can do to actually have my mark in this industry. And when I was looking at the problems of the industry, I was looking at it from angles that others, or generally the industry, has not been looking at. And I think when I tried to start a company, and when I did go ahead and do that, that was something no one else did. And people, like I said, there were quite a few obstacles that we had to go through. But I think those 3 points have what actually got me here. And I strongly believe you all being part of MSP have proven already that you can do a lot better than what everyone really thinks of, or what everyone really wants to do at this stage of life. And I think using that sort of ideology and using that momentum, you guys have to think even further beyond what you can do just here at MSP, but beyond what you're currently already doing. And I think these three questions will really help open up, or these three activities will really help open up those ideas and those thoughts for you to go further and think what you can be doing much bigger than this. Our vision to build a constellation of these AI-powered satellites that can monitor the Earth 24/7 and send real-time intelligence is not going to be happening alone. This is a journey where we want to be working with collaborators, innovators, researchers, students, like everyone here in the room and many outside this room as well. And I think together we can definitely create not just space industry, but technologies across different industries that build a strong foundation. Not just speaking from a business point of view, but from economy point of view for the country, from ecosystem point of view for people coming into the universities and studying and coming out of the universities. And far beyond that, I think just for general humanity to live their lives safer, easier, and happier. The future isn't something we predict. It's something we obviously define. And nowadays we are redefining that future with AI and all the other things coming up. And for us, the first launch was really an example or a proof of concept for anyone in this room to actually think of doing something like that. Because I've started from where you are, and I've heard these speeches given by other people before. And I think it's a proof of concept scenario for you to go above and beyond and redefine what your pathways are, what your future is. And when I see what you're building here today at Melbourne Space Program, I have no doubt the next wave of breakthroughs are going to come right from this room. A good example is actually Andromeda. I think Andrew remembers Grace. That's another really good example, which started off as a small project within, I think, Melbourne Space Program, and now that's $1 million company running out of San Francisco. And I think that sort of that's a very good example again to show how what you guys are working on today, which seems like a nice, crazy idea, can actually be $1 million, $1 billion venture, which supports a lot of lives and supports a lot of economies and changes the way we live in this world. And I think in the interest of that and in the spirits of that, let's keep working, let's keep building together. My company is any day happy to work with Melbourne Space Program. And I think we have some of the people from Melbourne Space Program who worked with us and some of the alumni of Melbourne Space Program who are working in my team right now. And we're always here to support what you guys are doing. And let's all together redefine what's possible. And that's my time. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kesh, and I'm the project lead for ACROX. This has been a big year for us. We've faced challenges, made tough decisions, and ultimately we've come out of it with a renewed sense of purpose. Tonight, I'm excited to share our journey and some of the progress we've made. Many of you may know that ACROX was working on a 3U Earth observation satellite. But in mid-April this year, we faced a harsh reality. Due to a steep budget shortfall, we simply didn't have enough money to build that satellite. The 3U mission had to be paused. At the time, it was devastating. Years of effort suddenly felt out of reach, but we refused to give up. Instead, we reframed this setback as an opportunity to come back stronger. We asked ourselves, how can we deliver a space mission with the resources that we do have? And that challenge became our new directive. To focus on a smaller, more achievable mission that would prove our capability, build momentum, and make us more self-sustaining. But the constraint remained. Our development budget was capped at just $50,000. Now, how do you run a satellite mission for $50,000 when most missions cost several million dollars? Well, it definitely helps to have a team that gets paid in experience. But really, this constraint forced us to engage much more closely with industry. We couldn't just buy solutions. We had to engage we had to create partnerships that delivered mutual value. And out of that, the 1U technology demonstration mission was born. This mission is about impact. Instead of stretching limited resources across a larger spacecraft, we've streamlined the design to deliver clear, focused value. We've been fortunate to partner with two emerging leaders in the Australian space sector, Extraterrestrial Power developing low-cost silicon-based solar cells for space, and Deneb Space, a startup spinning out of the University of New South Wales, developing a novel magnetorquer technology. Our role is to provide them with critical in-orbit validation, the kind of data that is key for the commercialization of their technology. The payloads in this mission are very exciting and have massive potential within the space industry. So solar panels are typically the most expensive part of a satellite, and there's actually a shortage in the global supply. So extraterrestrial powers technology is positioned to address this major problem for a rapidly growing global industry. In this mission, we'll be testing a range of new solar cell chemistries on their panels. We'll be measuring light, temperature, and radiation to characterize the productivity and the durability of their cells in space. That data will directly inform the design of the next generation of their solar technology, helping them produce proven and robust panels. A magnetorquer is a device that interacts with the Earth's magnetic field to orient a satellite in space. It's one of the most simple, reliable forms of attitude control, and its use is widespread for small satellites. Deneb's design, however, is novel, promising improved efficiency and performance. We're aiming to characterize just how well it works, running controlled experiments and maneuvers throughout the mission. This will include testing and proving the unique algorithms needed to operate this device. For startups, flight testing hardware in orbit is often prohibitively expensive. By flying their technology, we're offering a low-cost platform to space heritage, a critical step towards adoption. In return, we gain access to cutting-edge technology, collaborate with leading industry talent, drastically reduce our costs, and deliver impact with meaningful implications for the broader Australian space sector. Now, naturally, building a spacecraft under such constraints presents a tough engineering challenge. First being power. Now, power is already one of the most stringent constraints in a satellite mission, but extraterrestrial power solar panels are actually test panels, so they're not designed to maximize power generation. Our orbital and power simulations show that we'll have about just 0.4 watts of average usable power. Now, for reference, that's less than 10% of the power a typical household light bulb uses, and that has to run our entire satellite. Second, volume. Moving from a 3U to a 1U design means squeezing everything into a 10 by 10 by 10 centimeter cube, where every millimeter matters. Third, data availability. Our payloads demand continuous performance monitoring, requiring high availability for our communications, despite the low power. And on top of that, we're a part-time group of volunteer students with a tight budget and limited facilities. These constraints are real, but they also force us to be more creative, disciplined, and resourceful. So where are we now? Despite what might seem like a fairly grim outlook, in just a matter of months, we've locked down partners, agreed on interfaces, completed our concept of operations, finalized our high-level designs, and are now in the process of testing our low-level subsystem designs. We've also gained amateur radio approval, a key milestone for regulatory compliance, and this has been an all-round phenomenal effort, and I'm very, very proud of what we've achieved. What felt like a failure has just become a redirection. With a leaner, more focused team, we've been able to act quickly and decisively. We've leveraged the guidance and generosity of industry experts and are set up to execute the rest of this mission. I want to highlight some of the key innovations in this satellite. One area we're especially proud of is our onboard computer and communications board. We've designed it to operate at ultra low power. With just 0.1 to 0.2 watts, we'll be able to control our satellite, transmit data regularly from space. It's a compact, highly efficient design that handles all our data, communications, and satellite operations. You have the opportunity to see the completed Mark I on the tables after the speeches. Equally critical is the electrical power system. Our EPS board is designed to have efficient power harvesting and storage of the limited solar energy available. It includes detailed telemetry systems that allow us to measure and characterize the performance of the ETP panels. It also provides robust power distribution, ensuring the reliable operation of our systems. Looking forward, in the next few months, we'll be focusing on completing our engineering model. We'll work through this implementation phase and ramp up to our integrated environmental testing, bringing everything together and verifying that the satellite can survive launch in space conditions. In parallel, we're working to secure a launch opportunity. Whether by hitchhiking on a rideshare mission or raising funds to secure a launch of our own, we're committed to getting this to space. But this mission is about far more than just putting one satellite into orbit. It's a bold proof of concept, a demonstration that even with limited resources, students can deliver credible missions that establish flight heritage, build trust, and open doors to far larger opportunities. This record of success will allow us to scale up our missions and broaden our impact across Australia's space capabilities. We are proving that a student-led team can truly catalyze space R&D. By testing novel technologies in orbit and producing real flight data, we're accelerating innovation, lowering barriers in startups, and enabling breakthroughs that would otherwise remain in a lab. And just as importantly, it's about people. This project is shaping the next generation of Australian space engineers and leaders, training them through the intensity of a real mission, instilling rigorous engineering discipline, and building a talent pipeline that our nation's space industry can rely on for decades to come. On behalf of the team, I want to thank the University of Melbourne, our partners, our sponsors, our mentors, and all of you here tonight for being part of this journey. After the presentations, please come by our tables. We've brought along some hardware, and we'd love to show you what we've been building. Thank you. I'd like to welcome Carly Scott, OAM, founder and CEO of Space CoLab.
Good evening, I am Carly Scott, and it is great to be here tonight as part of the end of a really exciting week at the university and to present after such cool people. Thank you for the invitation to speak here. Where to start? Let's have a go here. We'll start at fairly well the beginning. So how do you go from North Dandenong to NASA? It's not a regular journey, and I don't have the same story that you have around dreaming about the stars and then making my logical way there. It wasn't quite the same for me. I didn't think about space as a future at all, actually. And it was something that I sort of came across by working in a range of commercial roles and then meeting some people who wanted to start a spaceport. And so that journey for me was around really understanding that in life, what I've found anyway, is that you don't always know the path you're going on. But if you think the people are cool around you and the task ahead is something you think is worthwhile and could be fun, then say yes and give it a run. And that's partly how I came to run a spaceport and build Australia's first commercial spaceport, secure contracts with NASA to launch their suborbital rockets from Northern Australia and their heliophysics payloads as well successfully. And it was quite a journey. So often through that journey from, kid in North Dandenong to however you get to being the CEO of a spaceport, you get these sort of tips like, the really motivational speeches, like lean in, you can do it, sister, you can go. And they're all really useful things. And surround yourself with people who tell you those useful things and really do support you through the hard times. But it does take a little bit more than just the kind of good vibes to get you there. And there are some really weird realities that you'll go through on the way there. We just heard some stories about the hardships in the space sector in Australia, or anywhere really, in trying to make steps towards progress. It's not usually the easiest path, but it is exceptionally rewarding. And so I'm glad you're all here in this room. And some of the challenges that I was looking at is that when I was growing up, how many people, how many girls, how many people generally were CEOs of spaceports. It wasn't a huge job market growing up, and it still isn't. And so sometimes you don't see what you want to be. You have to make your own path there, have the confidence to say, I think I can get this done, and then build in those friends around you from university or wherever else it might be to help you on your journey. That story that we're hearing about the satellite is extremely useful because no matter what you do, particularly if you're in Australia, but anywhere, being able to call on your friends to contribute different bits and pieces is going to be extremely important to your journey. So that goes two ways. It is both know that you can call on your friends and they'll probably help you out, and it's going to be important. But also you do need to think about being there for other people and setting some time aside for that, I think. It makes you a good person, but it's also something that helps our whole sector across. So what did it look like to start with? I mean, we were in remote Northern Australia, right-hand tip of Northern Territory. There was no spaceport there. In fact, it was all trees, which were beautiful. But it was on a mining site that was planned to be cleared for the red dirt that you can see there, which is bauxite, which Rio Tinto would mine and then turn into aluminium for our soft drink cans and so forth, and maybe some more engineering projects. And it was an interesting task. It was a lot of documentation. So there are a lot of sort of romantic thoughts about what you might need to do if you're in a space program. But as you probably all know by now, a lot of the romantic stuff are the few headline bits at the very end. It's not really what the journey's about. So that good documentation, regular practice is really what's going to get you to the stage of being able to stand on a site with your traditional owners, for example, politicians, and the range of different people that help you to really make the job work. And there's some really heavy lifting. You almost have to have a goofy picture of yourself with some sort of space stuff if you're going to be in the space industry. That's probably my one main tip. If you haven't done that yet, find something to have a photo with. I'm going to move forward though to say that things do evolve as you go through your career. So I started off my career just helping businesses as a CEO generally, came into developing a commercial spaceport and working with NASA and the Australian Space Agency to define the rules that allow you to do that and allow you to trade with America for that sort of activity. And now I'm looking at developing quantum communications, so secure communications. And it won't actually, for people who are into wavelengths, be a green light, but nevertheless, it looks much nicer than a red one and less scary. So you're essentially looking at a laser going through a diamond, becoming quantum secure, and then going to another place, whether it be from a ship to a drone or a variety of other locations. It's another audacious goal, and it's something that I think as Australians, as people coming up in this industry, we're particularly good at leaning into. So as you're coming through this process, I understand that you've got great opportunities to look at, but there are going to be decisions for you to take. And sometimes they're the scarier decisions. It certainly hasn't been the story that you've been hearing tonight that everyone thought it was the safe path to go through because everything was well funded and set before them. It is a path where you're going to need to keep making your own decisions to think, this is going to do something great for humanity. It's going to do something that I'm interested in. And I think that the product I'm working on is really meaningful, or whatever it is that inspires you personally. Hopefully it's not too negative. So as I'm coming to the end of this and saying in this sort of long rambling journey, I think the one thing I really wanted to say in front of you all while I had this great opportunity to do so is that there are so many opportunities ahead of you. You won't know the challenges that are there until you start having the conversations with people in industry. The space industry is a tremendous industry to be a part of. There are people working on exceptional challenges that really do build a pathway forward for humanity. And you get an opportunity to be part of that story and make a meaningful difference. And you all can do that, particularly if someone just who had no knowledge of a space industry when they were growing up can do it. So in closing this presentation, I really want to take the time to say that you can really dream up some amazing things. The theme of this week and of this series of presentations tonight is spot on. We're at a really unique moment in time where there are so many tools available to you to innovate quickly, iterate quickly, and really turn the dial on some major developments for humanity. Don't restrict yourself to what you already know. Be open to finding new paths of knowledge and building those chunks of knowledge together. That is how I've come to be the CEO of a quantum communications group, by building knowledge together with other people and making something new and hopefully quite spectacular work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what all of you do. Hopefully you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and brag about what you're working on, because I'm sure it's going to be totally amazing. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Max, and I'm a PhD candidate at the School of Medicine researching cancer risk prediction with machine learning models, and I am the lead for Humanoid in developing machine learning models. So a little overview of the Humanoid project. Our vision is to make humanoid robots more accessible to the public, and to achieve this goal, we are trying to build a humanoid bartender. So we have a couple of requirements to build this humanoid bartender. So it can be grouped into two tasks. One is to interact with customers to get the wishes of the customers and maybe give some comforting answers or just have a little chat with the customers. And of course, a bartender needs to serve drinks and mix drinks. And to achieve that, we are using a camera as a sensor to communicate with humans. We are using a microphone and a text-to-speech model to answer the customers. And lastly, we're using kind of a brain, which is the robot operating system, in order to connect our sensor input to the actuators of the model of the humanoid robot, which are arms and hands. So far, we are building just the torso, so the humanoid robot would be stationary. So what has the machine learning side achieved till this day? So in the past few months, we've created our own data sets which can recognize the contents of, or to build a machine learning model that can recognize the contents of a cup. This dataset differs from other open datasets in that it is larger, has different colors of liquids and different kind of cups, and it's also labeled. Some of the other data is not labeled. Secondly, our camera can already detect cups and bottles and also locate them in space. And lastly, we have our human-robot interaction pipeline already set up using large language models. Basically, at the moment, I think we're using ChatGPT. And it can also talk back. Unfortunately, I think our demo isn't set up at the moment to run this interface because our member who built this pipeline can't be here today. But we've also have great plans for the future, which is deploying a model that can detect the content of cups. And then, very importantly, we want to connect our sensors to the actuators via the brain. And this is going to be probably achieved in a virtual environment first. Can we run this? Oh, yeah, so for people who don't know, this is like a robot that has been built by Disney in cooperation with NVIDIA. And the whole behavior of this robot has been virtually trained using reinforcement learning in a virtual environment called Isaac Lab, which uses NVIDIA Newton engine for physical simulations. And so the good thing about this approach is that we don't have to get anything dirty. And in the case it succeeds, we can just deploy this virtual model to our physical robots, and that should work. And this is kind of a modular approach to the whole humanoid problem, which separates the sensors from the actuators and the brain. But state of the art at the moment are also foundational models. In fact, they are vision language models, which basically take on the camera inputs together with a instruction. This vision language model then embeds this information basically and takes in the state of the actuators, and then via a generative model, diffusion model, then tells the actuators how to move. And So a diffusion model is kind of the same model that is behind image generation. So it will just take all the previous steps that we saw and just put them into two neural networks. And this might be something for us for the future to explore. At the moment, we are just looking at this modular approach because then we can separate tasks better. And it's already complicated enough. Yeah, and now let's hear from the hardware side.
Good evening, guys. My name is Osfid. I am the team lead for the hardware side for Humanoid, and here's what we've achieved so far. So far we've redesigned the torso of the robot to make it more sturdy, and it has become more modular. Yeah, we've also reworked the head to fit more electrical components, such as sensors, Raspberry Pis, and speakers, etc. Our end effector design has took a big step forward. While the movement is still a bit inconsistent, the new design aims to be more dexterous than the old one, with it being able to close each individual fingers other than just all at once. Here is the video of it so far. Finally, motion control for our right arm is progressing smoothly with our forward kinematics code where we calculate where the hand goes, where we move the joints work consistently. Here's the video of the arm simulating a drink pour. That's it, grabbing the drink, and that's pouring it. I'll just gonna. So the the future of humanoid hardware would be first to work on inverse kinematics and trajectory planning of the robot arm. This will allow us to move the arm smoothly towards the target. Looking ahead, we plan to reinforce the torso, making a rotating mechanism so that it's able to spin 360 degrees to make it more versatile. We also aim to improve the right arm end effector and the neck to move with a higher degree of precision so we can respond naturally to different senses. In particular, the torso and neck will be built to respond to different angles around the robot so it can kind of move around and respond to different things. On top of that, we'll be working on constructing the brain of the robot, which is the robot operating system, to kind of link software and hardware together. Finally, we'll be making a brand new left arm using a completely different approach from what we have now. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wara. I'm the team lead for animatronics. So to introduce this, first, what is animatronics? This is a project whose goal is to help children who are anxious and fatigued in hospital waiting rooms. Our solution to this problem has been to create animatronic robot characters to make visits to these waiting rooms. In the future, we also plan to turn this into something that can be manufactured and scaled up. But first, let's talk about what we have currently. So over the past 2 years, the animatronic dinosaur has been brought to 3 teddy bear hospital events, 2 being Good Friday, 1 being Chadstone. And children were given the opportunity to interact and pet the dinosaur. Through that experience, we've had some feedback, such as, is it real? Perhaps the dinosaur looked a bit realistic. Some children were understandably quite scared of its appearance. And Others knew that it was fake immediately and decided to be curious about the engineering and the inner workings of it, which was an angle that we are considering exploring. The main aim of the Quokka, which is our second animatronic, is to respond to the concern that the dinosaur is a bit realistic and scary by making a much cuter, small animal with fur to contrast with the dinosaur's scaly skin. It maintains the appeal of animatronics, which is having expressive facial features, movements, and interaction through tactile sensation. Over the past year, it's also helped to serve to help new team members learn technical skills such as web development, algorithms, PCB design, and CAD for mechanisms, as well as teamwork skills, and also working with the general public. So I'd like to go over the 3 subsystems that we have, which are software, electrical, and hardware. Each individual component, which are in the white boxes, is developed independently by different team members. And then once we have those built and tested, we start integrating them. When we have a full Quokka prototype, once we have every mechanism and system in place, tested, we will try to organize it to appear at next year's Teddy Bear Hospital alongside the dinosaur. So the first subsystem is software. So for the Quokka, it's been started from scratch with a focus on organization. Movement is designed to be randomly generated and autonomous, with the rate of movement influenced by its different states, such as the active, passive, and photo, as you can see on the webpage. So these are selected on the webpage, which I'll show the video of right now. So active button is pressed, and then the motors on the animatronics begin to move. This is connected via Bluetooth, and we also get feedback on the computer for how the motors are moving on the serial monitor. There's also a prototyping mode, which is shown on the bottom, where we can control each individual servo motor on the animatronic, mainly for troubleshooting and testing individual mechanisms. The next system is electrical. So for this, the main challenge is to provide enough current to 12 servo motors while also powering the microcontroller, the SP32, at the right voltage. So for this, the Quokka will be powered by LiPo batteries after measuring power requirements, which will be tested using a power supply first. So here we have currently a basic PCB that connects the servo driver and the microcontroller, and that helps with the form factor. And finally, we have hardware. This includes the individual mechanisms such as the eyelids, the neck, the nose, and these are created in CAD around a central structure that we've created, which is the top photo of the Quokka, which helps with determining scale. These are printed, tested individually. I'll show the test of the neck mechanism on the left. So once we verify that it is moving and working correctly, we start adding things on. We have a head structure where we attach different individual head mechanism components, and then we test them together to make sure that power reaches all of them at once and that the software is properly working. Once we have that, we will move on to creating the external textiles, which will be made out of fabric material. And so here's that final current simulate test for the Quokka head, which has cheeks, eyes, neck, ears, and nose moving at the same time. And we also have a demo at our table. So that is all for animatronics. If you'd like to learn more and ask questions, come and visit us at our table. And I'd like to hand it off to Masa for closing remarks. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. Tonight's been such a special celebration of innovation, creativity, and the hard work of our students. It's been a real pleasure and a privilege to share this journey with you, and we're so grateful to have you with us. I want to sincerely thank our sponsors for believing in the vision of Melbourne Space Program and the Melbourne Connect team for helping us bring this event to life, and of course, the University of Melbourne. A big thank you as well to our keynote speakers for sharing your insights. Preetham, I always enjoy hearing about your journey from MSP to Akula Tech, and I feel like it's a very full circle moment to see our Melbourne Space Program alumni now working for Akula. And fun fact, actually, Preetham is also the co-founder of Dropout Chaiwala, so be sure to ask him about that. And Carly, I first met Carly at a space networking event very recently and was blown away by her research in quantum communications. I'm so grateful we had a chance to hear from you. Her work is very fascinating, but equally inspiring is her career journey. So I encourage you to connect with her if you do get a chance. As we look to the future, we're excited to continue building our projects and new opportunities. But that's only possible through collaboration. So if you or your organization are interested in working with us, whether through sponsorship, mentorship, or partnership, we'd love to connect with you. So please find myself or Sam. Before we close, I encourage you to enjoy the rest of the evening. Please take the chance to network, meet someone new, visit our project stalls. We have ACRAX at the back and Humanoid and Animatronics here. And of course, help yourself to some catering. On behalf of all of us at Melbourne Space Program, thank you once again for being part of this special night. We look forward to continuing this journey with you. Thank you.
Ow! Not there! Ow! Ow! Are you still here? Welcome to the program. I'm sorry. I thought the show was over. It started? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.